Hey you guys, this is the Couplings Fire Podcast. Here's a couple of things you might need to know, or maybe you just forgot. I'm Taylor, a volunteer firefighter and also a firewife to my favorite firefighter. Join me as I talk anything and everything fire related. I don't claim to be an expert, I just love to talk fire, and I'm not afraid to get into real and deep discussions. Everything I say is my own opinion and does not reflect the opinions of any agency or organization I am associated with. Let's get on with the episode. Hey you guys, welcome to another episode of the Couplings Fire Podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Anderson. It is amazing to have you guys here with me, listening, interacting on social media, sending me emails, talking in person, however I've been talking to you for this last year. This has been amazing. You guys, it's too exciting. It's too exciting. I can't calm down. I need to calm down a little bit, right? But I'm so freaking excited. It's been a year. You guys, it's been a year. I've been doing this for a year. And it's weird. It is weird. I never expected to, I didn't expect to quit, right? But I didn't know it was going to happen when I started this. It's crazy. And it's crazy to think a year has gone by so quickly. Because it really has. It's gone by ridiculously quickly. I'm looking at the number for this episode, and this is episode 54. Holy crap. And okay, so it should really be 53 if you think about it, because there's 52 weeks in a year, right? I know. I released 2 episodes in 1 week. In one of those weeks. So that's how that happened. But I don't know. I haven't missed a week yet, which is crazy to me. I don't know how I managed to do it, along with moving and other things. We'll get into, the fun trip that is life, right? I don't know how I managed it, but I can't believe it. I almost don't know what to say at this point, except for thank you. Thank you for listening to this. Thank you for tuning in every week. Maybe you're new and you just found the podcast. I'm really happy to have you here and to see where it goes from here. I'm really excited for the upcoming, whatever is upcoming. We'll get into that in a little bit, right? I'm really excited for it. And I'm excited to have you guys along for the ride. So it's been a year. Well, it will be a year. Technically, so this comes out, so you guys are listening to this where it comes out on February 18th, right? 2022. The podcast got started on February 19th in 2021. Man, okay, so it's been a whirlwind of a year. And to kind of take you guys through the little story of how this podcast came to be and what the last year's been like, it started out as a feeling I had. I was listening to other podcasts. I had a lot of built up energy, not knowing exactly how to find an outlet for myself for this extra energy I had and this extra passion for the quote unquote job, right? The firefighting. And especially at that time, I had unbridled passion. It was letting loose, and a little bit, honestly, it was destructive in some points. And I needed to find a positive, constructive outlet for it. And something was pushing me. And I don't know how to explain it, but it was the biggest internal push to do something that I've ever felt. And this means something because it was bigger than the push for me to start my own business. It was bigger than the push for me to date and marry my husband, right? Those should have been big pushes, and they were. But this was the biggest push that I knew I had to do, and I didn't know where it was coming from. And the best that I can chalk it up to, and the best that I thought then, is it was God talking to me, and I don't know why, but He wanted me to start it. And I still don't know why. I don't know the end goal in mind that He has, but there's a reason. And looking back, it's just funny how life works and the amazing people I've met and the opportunities I've had since starting this has been crazy. But it all started with that initial push. it was just something that was bugging me so bad. And I talked to Chris about it. And this was before, I think this was back in like November, December of 2020. Somewhere right there, right? And I told my husband about it. I'm like, hey, I have this really big push to do this. I don't want to do it alone. I think it'd be fun to do it with you. Let's do it. And he's like, okay, we'll just think about it a little bit. I'm like, okay, fine. Tell an impatient person to wait. Okay. So we decided if I still felt the same way in a week, the same big push, we would do it. We would start the podcast. I waited about a month or two. I think it was like a month and a half. I think it was like in the middle. I think it was a month and a half I waited. So I waited past that week and I did not say a word to him. I think he thought I forgot about it because he didn't say anything to me about it. I think he wanted me to forget about it because, it's scary getting into something that puts yourself out there like this. And a month and a half goes by. I come up to him like, hey, I still have just as big, if not more of a push to do this now. So he said, okay, let's start figuring it out. Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy. That's the story of how this actually got started. It was this weird feeling I had that I just knew I had to do it. What really gave me the confidence to actually start it, we had recorded a couple episodes early, but what gave me the confidence to actually publish it, honestly, I went to the Les Luker conference in 2021. I know that sounds funny because I always talk about that conference. But I went to that conference that year and I talked to several people, several friends and mentors about the upcoming podcast, about what I wanted to do. Talked to them about their opinions on it and stuff like that. And being there and honestly getting a chance to join the committee, the board to put together the conference, having that opportunity come up gave me the boost of confidence I needed to start this podcast. I know that sounds funny, but I needed something, apparently, to give me that boost to say, hey, actually put an episode out. Actually start doing this. You can do it. You have insight. I am not the most knowledgeable. I don't know a lot of things, actually. There's so much out there I don't know that I'm trying to learn. I'm very open about that. I try to be open about it. But there's a lot of different perspective or even questions I have that, I don't know, I just don't want to have not answered, right? Or unsaid. And I either want to find guests to talk to or find ways to research or, I don't know, or just throw the questions and perspectives out there and see what the rest of the fire service thinks, right? That is really the basis of this podcast. Some of it comes from knowledge of things I know, right? I'm very big on PR. I haven't done a lot of recruitment stuff yet, but I'm very big on recruitment. I'm that kind of public perception and stuff like that. That's stuff I know, right? That's stuff I have good experience in. The stuff I really care about, the personal side of the fire service, right? Talking to people and just getting to know their backstory and getting to see what makes us tick and how people work together. And I feel like I'm rambling. I'm totally rambling, but that's kind of what this podcast has been. And that's what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be a place where at the beginning, my husband and I were free to explore and to touch on topics we were interested in and wanted to know more about or wanted to tell people about. And just be a healthy outlet so we weren't being destructive. It happens to the best of us. We get so invested and so passionate that sometimes it blinds us and we do destructive things. And I wanted a way to contain that. And this has worked. This has given me a place where I can be open and I can state my opinions. And yeah, people may not always agree with me, but you know what? I've learned to live with it. I've learned that that's okay. But I just have to make sure that when I approach everything, you know what? We're getting ahead of ourselves. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to get into that a little later, but Okay, so officially started the podcast on February 19th, 2021, after the Les Lucre conference. That boost of confidence just helped me so much. The sucky part about starting it on that date, and honestly, I thought it was cool at the time, and I do still think it's cool, but it's a really hard thing to put on this day. So the day we released the podcast, my dog died earlier that week. And I know it's like sounds, oh, my dog died. And I know, but my husband and I don't have kids. And this dog, we got the dog 6 months after we got married. I was in a smaller town with not a lot of friends at the time. And this dog was with me through everything. Amazing husky named Rory. And we trained him from a little puppy, and we had him for almost 8 years. Honestly, that's kind of young for a husky. He died extremely suddenly a few days before we officially published the podcast. And it was terrible. It sucked. It was really hard on me. Because for 8 years, we had done everything with this dog. And he was our kid. He was the thing that Chris and I loved more than each other, or just as much as each other, right? Like, oh, it's ridiculous. And he was very much turning into our own little fire dog too, and it was amazing. But February 19th would have been his 8th birthday. So, like it or not, every time this comes around, I do think of that. I do think of, oh my goodness, it would have been Rory's birthday. You know, it's Rory's birthday today, or tomorrow, or whatever. So that's a little hard, but it is a great little reminder for that, and how much I loved him, how much he was becoming our fire dog, and I don't know, a special time in our lives and a different point in our lives, this point where everything started to change. By that point, we had already decided to move out of the town we were living in, and this was, of course, you know, we were hoping for Chris to get his career job, and it was, as you guys know, it's a long process to get hired with the fire department, with any fire department. This one took about 8 months so we were already planning to move anyways, but him getting the job did make it easier. So we had that going on. I ended up finding Clubhouse, which was amazing. You guys hear me talk about Clubhouse all the time. Clubhouse, for you guys who don't know, is another social media platform, but basically, imagine talk rooms, right? And it's like having a podcast set up like this, where you can hear me talking with other people. So it's all audio, and you just have a profile picture for each person, and you can create these chat rooms and talk about whatever you want. And it was amazing when I first found it. Holy crap, it was so cool. And it still is, right? You had so many people from across the fire service on there, and people would start rooms talking about different topics. And eventually we started getting this group of people who would just hang out together. And so even if we weren't talking fire topics, we would just hang out while we were doing other stuff for the day. We started to get to know each other. We started to get to know each other's families there, and like what they're up to, and their big passions and dreams and projects. And it's great. And this group of people I have stayed friends with still to today, right? I'm still on Clubhouse, not as often as I want to be. I'd love to be on there every day with them, but still quite a bit. And we keep up with each other through Instagram and texting and everything. And it's amazing. And I'm so excited because we're actually going to meet up at different points through the year. I think I'm going to be able to make it to one this summer, so I'm really excited. But finding a group of people from the fire service who are very much like-minded and into it and want to talk and just be us, that was amazing to find. So if any of you can find people out there like that, go to a conference, go to, find people on social media, whatever it is, find your people, keep connected. It will re-energize you, because it definitely has for me. Chris then, ended up getting the firefighting job and everything, and so we started that, and we had to deal with academy, and I have a whole episode about that, right? That's been a big adjustment, and right now, and for the past 6 months, honestly, I've been in limbo, and it's been weird. It's been really weird. I've just been waiting on God's timing and trusting his no's that he gives me. I can't tell you how many different jobs I've applied to that have, given me a no. And it's one of those, I don't know what's next for me, but I know something good is coming. And just, it seems like here, everything's starting to ramp up for the year again. And I'm so excited for it. I've got conferences coming up, and some I've already been to. And just things are starting to happen. Getting more involved in this new town I'm in with things and getting more settled and comfortable. It's hard waiting on the right timing, but I know it's worth it. And through all of this, if you guys have been listening since the beginning or close to the beginning, it's been almost a year of me not responding to a call, of not being on a department. It's getting close to that year point. And it's been weird, but at the same time, it has been a good break. It has gotten me to stop, to think, to reevaluate. It has gotten me to take a rest for a little bit, because I started to realize how much I was overextending myself. Right? I really was. And I know a lot of us do this. We get so into it, and the wheel's turning in our daily lives, and we just pile one more thing on and one more thing on and one more thing on. And you don't think it's very much, because you've been carrying all this extra weight. So what's one little bit, right? What's one little bit more? When you finally get a chance just to honestly restart your life and completely start over, like, that's what I feel like I've been doing this last year. It's been a complete reset. It's been so weird. Everything came off. I dropped the entire backpack full of weight. It's like, wait, what? It's been such a nice reset. And it's been time for me to reflect on, okay, what do I need to change with me? How do I need to be more comfortable with who I am as myself? Who am I outside of the fire service? And that's a little bit, we talked about it last week with Zuni on the episode. We got to have other things outside of the fire service. And it was hard for me. It was very hard for me. Taking that year off, I felt, especially at the beginning, that I was losing a big part of who I was. And I didn't. I really didn't. I was actually able to more focus on what I want to be and ways to make me better. So now when I go back to a department, when I go to a new volunteer department, I'm going to be a better overall person. I'm going to be a better asset for them and for the community. It was just a big reflective time, and I'm excited to get back into it again. I'm not excited to get super busy again, right? I'm going to try to keep that dialed in a little bit better this time around. This was like my one shot to like tone it down, so I'm going to take advantage of that, but I'm excited. I'm excited for new opportunities. Okay, so it's kind of been a look at over the entire last year of what I've gone through. So now I want to talk about specifically the podcast. This is going to be interesting. So I thought it'd be fun to tell you guys some of the original names we were thinking for the podcast. You guys know the couplings, right? That's what you got. That's what we went with. You can thank Chris for that. He completely thought of that one on his own. So my first one, and I loved it, and I was totally going to do it, was Fully Involved. I thought it was clever. I thought it was cute. I thought, oh, hey, we're fully involved together because we're married and, fire, and it's hilarious and it's cute. And then I realized how many things in the fire service are named Fully Involved. And specifically, Mark Van Oppen, he has his whole fully involved platform. Okay, well, that's not going to work. So that was out right away after I thought of him. Like, dang it. Like, I should have, like, it was one of those things, like, you should have known. Like, of course, I knew his stuff. I should have known that right off, right? So that scrapped that idea off the table. So another idea somebody gave us, since we were both based in the rural volunteer area, was going to be rural heat. It would have been okay, but I still didn't like it. And Chris, after we had a bunch of different ideas, you guys, a bunch of different ideas for the name. And Chris kept saying, couplings, fire podcast, couplings, couplings, couplings. And he thought it was so cute and funny. You have a male and a female end, and, and just like, he thought it was hilarious. And I'm like, no, that's not happening. No. You know what? It ended up growing on me, and that's what we went with. So Chris got his way, so you can thank him for the name. Another interesting thing, that we actually started this out for a few episodes. We ended up editing it out before we launched any of them. We were going to have like a kind of like a theme song for each entrance, for each episode, like a different song. And the thought was, is we play the song, or we had the song in our head, and we would either hum to it or sing to it or whatever it is, right? And like, so if a song was playing, we'd sing over it. That was the idea. It was recorded a couple times until I listened to it, and I'm like, no one's gonna want to hear us sing intentionally bad. Like, I don't mean to toot my own horn. I don't sing bad. I sing pretty good. But I was singing intentionally bad and funny for the entrance for these, and I'm like, no, this is not happening. So that got cut, but the original plan was to do that for every single episode. So if you were listening today, it would have opened up with like, I don't know, like Burn in Love or something like that, with both of us singing it. Like, I don't know, it would have been funny, but no. Okay, so over the whole year, we had a total of 54 episodes we put out. 27 episodes were with Quiz. We're with Chris. That's hard to say. That's a tongue twister. We're with Chris. Jeez. Oh my goodness. Okay. So the first 27 episodes we've recorded were with Chris. He ended up, his last episode was, I don't know if it was August 20th or if that was the first one I did on my own. That's when we ended up switching over just to me doing it solo. And that is just for the purpose of he's going through probation. He was going through academy, probation, all this stuff with career-wise. And honestly, he doesn't need to worry about one more thing on his plate. That's already a busy enough experience. So that was the main reason behind that. I don't know if he'll be back on once he gets done with probation or not. We haven't talked that far about it. So we will see when the time comes. But so that's when we started switching, and I've done 27 episodes that I've hosted since then, whether solo or with guests. So it's been half and half. It's kind of crazy. So some of you listening may not have even heard any of the episodes with Chris or I together. So I encourage you to go back and listen to those. Listen to at least some of those. We had a lot of fun doing it. If you couldn't tell, I mean, we're married, we have fun together. I don't know, but it's something that when he left, I found the want to really bring on other guests, just because I really like that back and forth. Right? I like talking to you guys like this, but especially the first few times me doing it, it was weird and it was kind of awkward. Now it's just like, I'm just talking to myself or the, little bubble of audience in the room and just know that I'm talking to you guys. And it makes it easier, but it is hard. So it's like, I need that back and forth. So that's what really pushed me to do more guest episodes. So for the year, and including 2 that I did with Chris, I've hosted 12 guest episodes. So a quick run through of those. We had Tim Zender on for grain bin emergencies back in episode 16. Episode 25 was with Shane Smith. We talked about the Scott Firefighter Combat Challenge and a bit about his mental health journey. I had Jonah Applegarth on for episode 33. We talked about his wildland firefighting experience. Episode 35 with David Stender, talking about out-of-house trainings and networking. I had Robbie Owens on for episode 36, and we talked about leave of absence in that episode. David Mellon for episode 38 for the impacts of realistic training. And that is, the David's episode is actually the very first episode I started the segment called Family Firefighter Survival. I didn't have a specific name for it when we started his episode, but that's when I started that one. Episode 40 with Logan Watts, we did the importance of search. Episode 42 with Rob Ridley was good members versus bad members. And Rob, in this episode, was the one who actually gave me the name for Family Firefighter Survival. That segment of the show where we go, wow, this sounds like cheesy, right? That's the segment of the show where we go over our families and how we make things work with the quote-unquote job. How was that? Pretty good? Okay. Yeah, totally game showy or something like that. So yeah, that's where you can credit that to Rob. It was awesome. Thank you for that. I had Bill Dungy on talking about the Wedge program in episode 44. One of my personal favorites, and this one was just because it was just so much fun. Episode 46 with Curtis Hensley, we went over our 2021 Christmas lists. It was just so much fun to go over just whatever in the fire service we thought would be on our Christmas list. It was so cool. Number 50 with Nick Higgins, with talking about his new book, The 5-Tool Firefighter. And my latest one that just came out last week, episode 53, with Richard Zuniga, having the job be your identity. So some really good topics in there, really good guests. I'm really excited to get more guests on in the future. That is probably one of my favorite parts about doing this podcast, is having the guests on. Just because I get a chance to see things from other people's perspectives and talk to different people from different walks of life and hear about new things, right? That's gotta be like the coolest thing ever, is hearing about new things from other people's perspectives. So the top 5 most listened to episodes for the year. Number 1 is episode 1. Get to know us. That makes sense. People want to get to know us, right? Usually when you start a new podcast, especially if there's not that many episodes, you usually go back to number 1, especially if it's called that. I get that. Number 2 is number 2. Tips for the new volunteer firefighter. That one also makes sense. You go from 1 to 2. Okay. Then the next 3 kind of surprised me because these ones really jumped up there really quickly. So we have number 42, good members versus bad members with Rob Ridley. Number 46 is our 4th slot for the 2021 Christmas list with Curtis Hensley. And in the 5th spot, we have out-of-house trainings and networking with David Stender. And those 3 guest episodes they're all quality guest episodes, all the ones I've done. Those 3 are really good, and it doesn't surprise me that they're that high. Not going to lie. If you haven't had a chance to check out those 3 guest episodes, I would go do that. I've also been extremely humbled and grateful to be guests on 2 other podcasts. So Chris and I were both guests back when he was on for the Becoming a Firefighter podcast with Lee De La Garza. That was a really fun experience. We just had such a good down-to-earth talk about life, about everything, about both of us being in the fire service and making it work. And I don't know, just everything that went around with that. That was really a lot of fun. And then on my own, I've also had the opportunity to be on Meeting Night podcast with Heath Panel. And that one was all about coupling your family in the fire service. And again, we just kind of went through what it's like, how you do it, tips, tricks, pros, cons to all of it. And it was a lot of fun. Listener locations. This is awesome and crazy. I have no better words for it. No better words for it. Of course, we have the U.S. where I'm based out of, right? But other than that, so we have the US, there's Canada, Germany, Australia, Puerto Rico, the UK, Romania, India, Mexico, Indonesia, Netherlands, New Zealand, and most recently Guadeloupe. And for somebody who wasn't planning on anybody listening or expecting anybody to listen to this, I want to say from deep down in my heart, thank you all for listening from wherever you're listening from. This is insane for me to be able to look at this and see that somebody from these countries are listening. And I hope that it's giving you something to think about, right? That is the point of my podcast, is to get you to think and to get you to get out of your bubble. And I'm so excited to be able to, I don't know, help with that. So for the US, I thought it'd be fun to kind of give a top 10 states. I do have, I'm pretty sure, at least one listener in every state. But the top 10, Nebraska, that makes sense since I'm from Nebraska. Okay. Next, the other top 10, we have Kentucky, New York, Pennsylvania, Iowa, Texas, Illinois, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Wisconsin. Again, just ridiculous to me. What? So through all of that, all of those actual details about the podcast, none of that is meant. I'm not saying any of that to brag. I'm honestly recording it right now. I'm recording this podcast right now, first of all, to be able to have for myself in future years to look back on and see, holy crap. This is where it was. That is the main reason I'm doing it, right? Because I like having something to go look back and look on. It's like my own little journal, my own little diary, except for it's just all words, right? It's all audio, all words. Of course, the diary's still words, it's just written. Anyways, all audio, you get what I mean. But it's so cool to go back and look, but not just that. It's to show you guys too that whatever you're working on now, whatever you may be starting in the future, it doesn't have to be a podcast. It can be a simple little project. It can be maybe you just got on your volunteer department. It can be maybe you're studying to be an EMT. Maybe you're working to get on a career department and you're just in the beginning stages of training for it. I don't know what it is you're working on. But whatever it is you're working on, it's going to go where you don't expect it to go. It's going to take you on a whirlwind trip. And that's where this is done. If any of you had listened to this from the very beginning or have gone back to those first 10 episodes or so, we had zero expectations. We were excited and stoked for 3 people to listen to this. It blew me away when 20 people listened to it. It was crazy. And I want to be able to show other people that it happens for normal people, right? This isn't just for special few or whatever. Like, if you put in the work for it, if you're consistent with whatever you're doing, you will see return on investment, whatever it is. And you have to stay true to yourself while you do all that too. Right? That's probably the hardest thing too, is to not look at what others are doing and be true to you. Be true to your voice. Be true to what you believe in. So I hope all of those stats or everything I talked about so far encourages you just to keep going whatever you're pushing for. A year from where you're at, you will be surprised. And you'll be like, holy crap, I can't believe it's already been a year. And you'll be like, holy crap, I can't believe this much has happened in this year. And I didn't expect it to go here. I really hope that for you. And if that's happened for you, I want to know about it. I want you to message me on Facebook or Instagram. This is not a plug for this stuff. I'm just telling you where you can contact me, right? I want you to message me there. I want you to email me, couplingsfirepodcast@gmail.com. However you need to get a hold of me, I want to hear if you have projects, if you have goals, whatever it is that you've been working on, that you've gotten somewhere, or that you're excited to get somewhere, you can't wait to get somewhere. I want to hear your story too, because they're so cool. This podcast, doing this, getting out of my comfort zone for this, it was hard. It was a little bit of a nightmare for a few months. I was scared for a while every single episode I put out. It was terrible. And I had to get over that every single time to hit publish. But you know what? After doing this for the year, I've gained so much confidence. I don't think I've ever been as confident in my skills, in my abilities, in my own thoughts, in knowing that my thoughts are valid and my ideas are valid. I haven't had that in my entire life. Not because anyone talked bad of me, not because anyone put me down necessarily. I've just always had that problem. And through this, through putting out my thoughts every week and having people not agree with me, I've learned that that's okay. I've learned that it's actually good. It's good to have people not always agree with you, because if you always have people agree with you, are you actually staying true to yourself? We can't please people all the time. You should never go out there intentionally trying to hurt somebody or intentionally trying to make waves. But just know you can't be a people pleaser. You can't have everyone love you. You can't have everyone like you. Guess what? Do you like everybody? I can say for certain I don't like everybody. I don't get along with everybody. I don't agree with everybody. So I shouldn't expect that of anyone for me. And I just need to realize, and it's something I've been learning and really dealing with over the past year on this podcast, is dealing with differing opinions and dealing with people who will never agree with me or really don't like me. I've grown so much as a person from it, and I've opened my eyes to that's okay. And I'm more true to myself. And it's freeing. And I feel better. And I know when I do things, and I know when I say things, I'm doing them for the right reasons. And with that, one thing I've learned over the last year is I've really learned to look at a lot of things differently. I've learned to do my best to look at things from different perspectives, from other perspectives, and it took me a while. I'm not going to lie. You might actually start seeing it through the episodes as I have recorded them over the years, right? You're going to see my perspective maybe shift, maybe my speech shifts, maybe my passion or my drive behind certain topics shifts. And it's something you see with people just when they grow, because they've grown, because they've aged, because they've gotten knowledge. So, yeah, I'm kind of excited as much as I've changed, right? I've stayed the same, but I've changed. And I'm kind of interested. I kind of want to go back and listen to episodes and see the differences in myself and see where I was and where I am now and how I have grown up and how I've learned to take a step back and look at things from all sides. And to slow down and think about, do I need to take more time thinking about something before I talk to somebody about it? Do I need to really wrap my head around stuff better? Slowing down has been phenomenal for me within this last year. And it really gave me a spot to be able to talk to just about anybody at this point and hear what they have to say and understand where they're coming from. Maybe I won't always agree with it, but I understand it. And I'm able to have a conversation and move on. It happens. And it comes from a place of just growing up and growth. And, you can be in the fire service for years and years and years and still make big mistakes. It happens. It happens to more of us more often than not. Anyway, so yeah, definitely grew to look at things differently and slow down. I grew my self-discipline a lot. Putting out a podcast episode every week is not easy. There were weeks I was able to record ahead of time, and that was nice to kind of give myself a little bit of a break, but a lot of weeks I've been recording the week it goes out. So recording, editing, and getting out for you guys, and come up with topics for all that. And I got a lot of topics in mind still for the future, but it's definitely made me spend specific time on the podcast and to carve out time and to just have better time management with my overall life. That's been really nice to work on. And I've made some amazing friendships from this podcast, from doing this podcast. The people I've talked to as guests on here, I can't tell you how many times I've talked to some of them after it's out and keep up with them and see what's going on, and excited to see them at different conferences and things and get their opinions on different stuff. And it's been amazing. And, another unrelated note, something that maybe should have gone at the beginning, I was talking about the year, but it may sound little to people. It may sound kind of stupid to people. I don't know, but I received my first challenge coin this year. I've been in the fire service for 9 years now, and I just received my first challenge coin. And not gonna lie, I didn't get the feeling before. I didn't understand. When other people were talking about it, I didn't get the hype behind it. I was like, okay, it's just a coin. What's the big deal? I got my first one. And in that moment when I received it, it took me aback. I was not expecting it. And I started to get it. Oh, this is the point behind this. Okay. I see it. I see the intention behind it. I see the purpose behind it. I see the camaraderie behind it, and I don't know, it's something I never was able to put into words. I still can't put into words, right? But I was never able to understand it before, and I get the feeling now. And it's just something so cool. And without this podcast and building my confidence and getting out of my comfort zone and things like that and going to conferences and things, I don't think that would have happened. Actually, I know that wouldn't have happened. It's just, it's amazing. I have nothing else to say except for that. It's amazing. It's crazy. So it's sitting here on my desk now, and I'm able to kind of look at it every day and read the words on it, and it helps. It does. It helps drive me, it helps push me and keep me motivated and determined to push myself where I need to go in the future. So, talking about going where a really nice, smooth transition here. I did not plan where we're going in the future. Okay, so where is this podcast going? Been here for a year. What's up? Well, first of all, I'm excited to still be going. Holy crap. I didn't know if I'd make it this far. This is kind of the point where podcasts in general, not just fire podcasts, all podcasts, they either keep going or they quit at this point, right? I'm going to keep going. I love this too much to quit. So, if you guys haven't noticed, I got a new logo. I made a new logo, actually. I made it myself. I don't love necessarily doing them, but I do love designing other things. Right? So, anyways, so I got this new logo. I'm excited for it. It more envelops who I am. Yes, I had to plug the yellow in there. I don't know if any of you guys have figured it out yet, but I love the color yellow. So, so that had to go in there somewhere. And I don't know. I think it's really cool, and it really just reflects more of who I am. So that's awesome. So that's hopefully you're starting to see that everywhere across social media platforms and stuff like that. Talking about social media platforms, ding, ding, ding. Another cool transition. I need to get better at doing that, right? Sometimes it comes so easily, and sometimes it takes a while. It'd probably work better if I don't mention it every single time it happens smoothly. Okay, but new social media channel. I am starting a YouTube channel, you guys. So right now, all of the past podcast episodes will be uploaded on there. They won't have the video from them. They'll still just be audio, but they'll have kind of a cool video behind it going, so it's like not just a still picture the whole time. But yeah, those will just be audio for now. I don't know if I'll ever go into full video, or maybe just some special episodes I will, or I have no idea. I'm not setting expectations on myself for that because I want to see where it goes. But I will be starting a YouTube page. I greatly underestimated how long it takes to upload onto YouTube. So all the episodes are not uploaded yet. It's probably going to take a little while, so bear with me. I will keep everyone updated when we are 100% up to date. So follow me on Facebook and Instagram to make sure that that you're able to see when YouTube is fully up to date. But go ahead and find it and subscribe. You can find me over there at Couplingsfirepodcast. You'll see the new logo and know it's me. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, so I'm wanting to get stickers out. I'm actually in the process of getting some sourced. I will let you guys all know on here and on the channels when that is ready, and if you guys want one, when you can order them. I'm hoping to do more of that kind of stuff here in the future. We'll see how all that goes. I want to keep doing more guests. I've been talking about that a lot lately. I'm excited for more guests. So I want to hear from you guys. Who do you want to hear on? Do you have someone who you love to hear talk? Let me know. Let me know who that would be for you, right? Let me know your suggestions. And in the future, I'm wanting to dig into more real and deep topics. Those are some of my favorite to get into. We can talk about just the normal fire service stuff all the time. Yes, I get it, and I probably still will. But I want to get into good stuff. I want to get into deep talk. I want to get into the stuff that, you know what, a lot of times we're really scared to talk about. So yeah, so if you guys have any topics, anything like that you are interested in hearing about, send over the suggestions for that. If there's a situation you're going through or have heard of someone going through and you just like to hear more about it, let me know, and I'll figure out a way to do an episode on it. I am not quiet about the fact that I think we need more openness in the fire service. So let's work on it. Let's do it. I want to focus more on some more family firefighter survival stuff. I really like those segments of the episodes, of the guest episodes. If you guys haven't listened to those yet, I encourage you to do so. At the end of every guest episode, and it started with David Mellon's episode, but we've really started getting into it without the actual section back in Robbie Owens' episode. So listen to those. We get into, it's different for every person. And it is not scripted. It is whatever we get into. And eventually on the YouTube page, I will actually have a separate section just for those. So if you want to just listen to those, they'll all be right together for you. So I'm hoping to focus more in on that because that is something I feel is very important and near and dear to my heart that we need to focus on more. And lastly, the last thing I have for the future of this podcast, honestly, I'm going to stay true to me. I'm going to do what I do best. I love listening to other podcasts, fire podcasts and others, not just fire, right? But I have a lot of fire podcasts to listen to. And there's a lot of great people doing a lot of great things. Go listen to them. Go find them. If you're interested in other recommendations for fire podcasts, message me. I'll give you some of my top ones that I love listening to. But as much as I love everybody else, I'm not going to copy everybody else. I'm not going to do things the same way. I am not going to go down their path because I have a certain path I know is mine. And so everything I do on here, everything I talk about on here, may not be conventional. It's probably not going to be what you hear on every other podcast. It might be, but it might not be. And it might not be the way you hear about it. And I might not talk the same way, and I might make weirder jokes. I have no idea. I might talk more about my geeky stuff. Whatever it is, the future of this podcast is going to be staying true to me and not getting pushed off course and not trying to impress anybody and not trying to be something I'm not. And I really hope you guys enjoy this, enjoy what you've heard so far. I really hope that you enjoy what's coming up next. I have no idea where I'm going. I have no idea where this is taking me, where this is taking us. but I'm excited for the future. And again, this is not possible, would not have been possible without you guys listening and talking with me and, I don't know, just going through this amazing journey with me. So thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. You have no idea. This blows my mind. Just even doing a 54th episode kind of recap of everything. It's like, wait, what? So I've probably talked your ear off like crazy by now. But if you've liked anything you've heard over the last year, please take the time, couple minutes, 1 minute, whatever it is, run over to Apple Podcasts. I don't know if you can rate or review on Spotify, but run over to Apple Podcasts at least and leave a rating and review. Let me know what you think. Let others know what you think. It helps others find the podcast easier, and it helps get my message out to those who it would benefit. Another way is over on Facebook. I'm pretty sure you can leave reviews and ratings there as well on the Facebook page, and comment and share, and, feel free, come interact. But that is all I have for today. I've done I've recorded a couple things today, and my voice is starting to show its age at the moment. So I think I'm going to call it for now. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by and listening to another episode of the Couplings Fire podcast. I've been your host, Taylor Anderson. It has been great talking with you. Have a good day, night, whatever time you're listening to this, and I will catch you on the next episode. See ya! Thanks for coming by and listening to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a rating and review wherever you're listening. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Couplings Fire Podcast. See you next time, everybody.